The night was cold on the planet Zenthara. The sky was dark purple, and the stars looked like silver dust. The wind was sharp, and the tall buildings made long shadows over the stone streets dotting the rich part of the city, where the lights were. Always bright, and the houses were made of crystal. Something strange happened. A heavy door opened with a loud sound. A young girl was pushed outside. She fell to the ground. Her skin was pale blue, and her eyes glowed like soft silver. She was thin, weak, and shaking from the cold. She looked back at the door, hoping someone would come after her, but no one did. The door closed with a hard bang. Silence filled the street again. The girl's name was Lyra. She was not like the others. Her family said she was a mistake. They said she did not belong with them. They said she was different, and that was enough for them to throw her out. She had no coat, no food, and no place to go. Lyra stood up slowly. Her body was tired, but her eyes were strong. She looked around the street. There were lights in the distance and people walking, but no one looked at her, no one helped her. They acted like she was invisible. She walked slowly, holding her arms. Close to her body, her bare feet touched the cold ground. Her hair was messy, and her long silver dress dragged behind her. She was just 16 years old. She stopped at a corner and sat down under a broken street lamp. Her hands were freezing. Her stomach hurt. She had not eaten all day, but even worse than the cold was the feeling of being unwanted, far above Zenthara. In the black sky, a small ship floated quietly. It had no lights and no sound. It moved like a ghost. Inside the ship, a human man looked down at the planet. His name was Drake. He was on a secret mission. He was here to study the planet and collect information. But something on his screen caught his eye. Strange. He said he zoomed in. He saw Lyra sitting alone under the streetlight. The scanner showed her body temperature was dropping fast. But there was something else. Her DNA signal was different from other aliens. It had human parts. That can't be, Drake whispered. A hybrid? He looked at her face. She looked scared, lost, and familiar. Back on the street, Lyra closed her eyes. Her body was too tired. She didn't care if she died now. No one wanted her anyway. Her family hated her. Her world had turned. It's back on her as she started to sleep. Something strange happened. She saw a dream. She saw a blue planet. It was full of green trees, blue oceans, and white clouds. She saw tall buildings, people with warm clothes and smiles. She didn't know this place, but her heart felt something. It felt like home. She whispered softly in her sleep, Earth? But how? She had never been there. A few minutes later, a man in a dark coat walked through the street. He had a hood over his head and gloves on his hands. No one could see his face. He stopped when he saw the girl. He knelt beside her. She was still, breathing, but barely. He touched her hand gently. It was cold like ice. He took off his coat and wrapped it around her. Then he pressed a small button on his wrist. A soft light blinked. A ship hidden nearby started to move. He picked her up carefully. No one deserves to die alone, he said. In the sky, dark clouds gathered. A storm was coming. But in the arms of a stranger, the girl who was thrown away now had a chance to live. She didn't know it yet, but everything was about to change. She would soon learn the truth about herself, about her past, and about why someone like her should never have existed. A soft sound filled the cold street. The hum of quiet boots on stone. Most people were sleeping. Shops were closed. Streetlights blinked, tired and dim. But one man walked with purpose. His name was Drake. He was not from Zenthara. He was human. He wore a long black coat and a hood that hid his face. His boots were heavy. His eyes scanned every corner, every shadow. He moved like a ghost, careful not to be seen. This was not his first visit to a strange world. But this one felt different. Then he saw her, under a broken street lamp, curled up on the ground, was a girl. She was small, barely moving. Her skin had a strange blue glow. Her silver hair was wet from the mist. Her dress was torn, and her hands were shaking. Drake stopped walking. His heart skipped. He knew pain when he saw it. He bent down slowly and touched her forehead. Cold, too cold. Her pulse was weak. He pulled out a small scanner from his belt. It buzzed quietly and rid her body, then it beeped louder than it should have. Warning, an anomaly detected. He blinked. Read it again. The scan showed alien blood, but also something else. Human genes. Impossible. This can't be right, Drake whispered. He looked at her face again. She was young, maybe 16, 17, but her body was failing. If he left her here, she would be dead before morning. Drake looked around. The street was empty, no cameras, no guards. He made his choice. He wrapped her in his coat, lifted her into his arms, and walked away. Inside an old storage bunker near the city wall, Drake had a small secret base, hidden from scanners, shielded from satellites. He placed the girl carefully on a padded table. Soft lights turned on. He checked her pulse again. Still weak, but stable. He connected her to a heater, gave her a light energy drip, and waited. 1 hour passed, then 2. Finally, her fingers moved. She opened her eyes, silver eyes, glowing like stars. She sat up fast, breathing hard. She looked around, confused and afraid. Drake raised his hand slowly. Easy, you're safe now. She stared at him. What? Are you? Her voice was weak, barely a whisper. I'm human, he said. Simply. Her eyes widened. She tried to back away. No, humans are dangerous. You kill planets. That's what they told us. Drake gave a tired smile. We're not all monsters. Just like not all aliens throw their own children out. She froze. Her lip trembled. She looked down at the blanket covering her. Her hands gripped it tightly. My name is Drake, he said. I found you in the street. You were dying. She nodded slowly. My name is Lyra. A moment of silence. He pulled up a stool and sat beside her. Lyra, do you know what you are? She looked at him, confused. He showed her the scanner. This read your DNA. You're not just alien, you're also part human. Lyra shook her head fast. No, that's not true. I'm not one of you. Drake's eyes were calm. I didn't say it was bad. I said it's real. She looked away. They called me broken, a shame. My aunt said I was a failed mix. A dirty secret. She threw me out, she added in a whisper. No one even said goodbye. Drake sat in silence for a few seconds, then asked, Do you remember anything about Earth? Lyra closed her eyes. I don't know, she said. Sometimes I see it in dreams, a blue planet, green trees, people laughing. She opened her eyes again. I thought it was just my mind playing tricks. Drake leaned back. Maybe it's something more. Maybe you've been there. Lyra looked at him carefully. Why are you helping me? Drake stood up. Because I've seen what happens to kids like you. I've seen what fear does, and maybe because you remind me of someone I lost. He walked over to a screen and tapped a few buttons. A hologram appeared, a spinning image of Earth. Lyra stood up slowly, weak but curious. She stepped closer. The image glowed on her face. Her voice shook. That's it. That's the place from my dream. Drake watched her carefully. Lyra. Would you come with me? He asked. Back to Earth. I think we can find answers there. Lyra looked at him. She wanted to say no. To stay quiet. To hide. But something deep inside her, a voice, a pull, said, Yes. She nodded. Far away. High in Zenthra's sky, a red dot blinked. A tracking signal. The moment Drake activated the scanner, someone else saw it too. A tall woman in a black robe stared at the signal from a control room. Her eyes narrowed. Lyra is alive, she hissed. That half-blood girl should have died in the cold. She turned to her guards. Find her, before she remembers who she really is. The small ship flew low above the clouds of Zenthara. It was quiet, fast, and invisible to most scanners. Inside, Lyra sat near a round window, staring into the stars. She didn't speak much. Her eyes were open, but her thoughts were far away. Next. To her, Drake worked at a control panel. His face was calm, but inside his mind was racing. The scanner's report was still fresh on his screen. He had seen thousands of blood scans before, but never one like hers. Back in the hidden bunker, after Lyra had fallen asleep, Drake had run another test. He had taken a small drop of her blood. Just to be sure, but what he saw in the results was not normal. Yes, there were alien cells. From Xanthara, strong, adaptive, sharp. Yes, there were human cells. From Earth, soft, flexible, emotional, but there was something else. A third strand. Unknown. Alive. Moving. Drake had seen cells before. He had studied human-alien mixes. Some were clones, some were lab-grown. Some were just lies, but Lara's blood was natural, not forced. Not built. She was real. She was born, not made, and that third strand. It was healing other cells. It was trying to fix broken DNA. It was doing something human science had never done before. She's not just a mix, Drake had whispered. She's an evolution. Now, on the ship, Lyra finally spoke. Where are we going? Drake turned toward her. A quiet zone near Xanthara's orbit. I have friends there, and better tools. Lyra hugged her knees. Will they hurt me too? No, he said. They're scientists. Old ones, smart, trustworthy. Lyra gave a small nod. Okay. Drake looked at her gently. Can I ask you something, Lyra? She looked up. Did your family ever tell you about your father? Lyra went quiet. Then she whispered, Only once. When I was small, my mother told me I was different. Special, but then she disappeared. Drake's eyes narrowed. Disappeared? She left one day. Said she was going to fix things. She never came back. Lyra looked away. After that, they all hated me. My aunt took over, said I was a problem. A stain on the bloodline. Drake sat back, breathing slowly. Your mother might have been human, he said. Lyra shook her head. Impossible. Drake showed her the scan. Not impossible. It's right here. She stared at the glowing chart. Strange lines, numbers, colors. Then she saw it. 3 strands. What is that? She asked. The third strand, Drake said. It doesn't belong to humans or Xantharians. It's something new. New? He nodded. It's healing your body, fixing cell damage, boosting your brain. Lyra blinked. So that's why I never got sick. Yes, Drake said, and maybe that's why your family feared you. Lyra's voice trembled. But why throw me away? Drake looked at her with sad eyes. Because people fear what they don't understand. The ship landed quietly. On a dark moon just outside Xanthara's system. A small lab waited underground. Drake led Lyra down a metal hallway. Lights turned on one by one. At the end of the hallway was a large glass room filled with machines. 2 people waited inside, an old man and a tall woman. Lyra, meet Dr. Marn and Dr. Ilya. They helped design the original Human-Alien Research Center. Lyra stepped back. You said no one knew about me? They don't, Drake said, but they might know something about your parents? Leah smiled kindly. We don't want to hurt you, Lyra. You're important. More than you know. Lyra sat on the exam table. The doctors ran soft scans. They didn't poke. They didn't cut. They watched the data come in, and they looked afraid. This can't be, Ilya whispered. Mar and nodded slowly. This is her. The one we lost? Drake stepped forward. What are you talking about? Marn turned. 17 years ago, a human scientist and a Xanthara noblewoman tried to create a child. A natural hybrid. They wanted peace between both species. But the project was shut down. The woman vanished. The man went into hiding and the baby was never found. Drake's eyes widened. You think Lyra's that child? We don't think, Ilya said. We know. Lyra felt dizzy. So, my mother was real? My father, too? Yes, Ilya said softly. And you, Lyra, you are proof that our 2 worlds can become one. Lyra stood up. Then why does everyone want me dead? Marn looked at her with heavy eyes. Because your blood can change everything. It can heal disease, extend life, cure planets. If the wrong people find out, Ilya added, they will hunt you forever. Suddenly, alarms rang. Red lights flashed. Drake grabbed his weapon. We've been tracked. Lyra looked at the screen. A Xanthara ship was heading straight toward them. Her aunt's face appeared on the monitor. You can't hide, Lyra, she said coldly. You belong to us, dead or alive. Lyra's hands shook, but then she clenched her fists. No, she whispered. I belong to no one. Asterisk alarms screamed across the moon base. Red lights flashed. Warning signs blinked on every screen. The Small underground lab shook slightly as the Xanthara ship entered the moon's orbit. Lyra stood frozen in place, her heart racing. Drake grabbed her arm. We need to move, now. Dr. Marn pressed buttons on the console. They're jamming. The airlocks. You have 5 minutes, maybe less. Dr. Ilya handed Lyra a dark jacket. Put this on. It has a cloak chip keeps your body hidden from heat scans. Lyra quickly put it on. They found me so fast. How? Drake clenched his jaw. We scanned your DNA too many times. Your signal triggered something in their system. They've been watching, Marn said. Waiting for you to surface. Boom. The ceiling lights flickered. A distant blast shook the ground beneath their feet. They're here. Ilya whispered. Drake led Lyra into a narrow back tunnel. It was dark and damp. Metal pipes lined the walls. Lyra ran behind him, her feet light but fast. I thought you said this place was hidden, she said, breathless. It was, until you woke up, Drake answered. Now the whole galaxy knows you exist. Another boom echoed behind them. The tunnel shook. Dust fell from above. Suddenly, a red drone flew into the tunnel, scanning fast. Drake pulled out a small device and aimed. Zap! The drone sparked and dropped. Keep moving, he said, outside the lab. A tall woman in a black and red uniform stepped through the blast smoke. Her eyes were cold. Her voice calm. Search everything, she ordered her guards. Do not let her escape again. She was High Commander Asera, Lyra's aunt. She looked at a glowing tablet. Lyra's face was on the screen, spinning slowly. She's not a girl, Asera hissed. She's a key, a living weapon. That hybrid must be destroyed before she remembers what she is. Lyra and Drake reached a small loading room. A silver pod was hidden under a metal floor. This will take us to the lower caves, Drake said. It's slow, but it's the only way out now. Lyra climbed in. The door closed. Drake tapped the panel. The pod dropped fast, down into blackness. Lyra held her breath. Her ears popped. After a minute, the pod stopped with a soft jolt. They stepped out into a huge underground cavern. Giant crystals glowed on the walls. Strange fog floated between rocks. Lyra looked around, amazed. Where are we? Drake whispered. The ancient mines, abandoned for over 200 years. But I mapped a way out. As they walked, their shadows moved across the glowing stone. Lyra suddenly asked, Why does she want me dead so badly? Your aunt, Drake replied. Because your blood threatens everything they control? If people know you can heal, they'll stop trusting Xanthara medicine, their science, their leaders? So I'm dangerous to them? No, Drake said. You're powerful. And they fear power they can't control. High above in a control room, Asera watched the scanner. A red dot blinked far beneath the surface. They're in the crystal mines, said a guard. Seal the exits, she ordered. Send the hunters. Within minutes, flying drones and armored guards dropped into the mines. Their eyes glowed red. Their weapons were silent but deadly. The hunt began. Lyra heard something, a buzz. She turned fast. They're behind us. Drake grabbed her hand. Run! They dashed through narrow paths. Lyra's cloak flickered, hiding her heat. But Drake was visible. He fired back with a pulse gun. Boom! A drone crashed into a rock. Another fired at them. The beam hit Drake's arm. He shouted in pain, falling to the ground. No! Lyra dropped beside him. You're hurt. I'll be fine, he groaned. Keep going. I won't leave you. Lyra looked around. The cave shook, her fear grew, but then something inside her changed. She touched his wound. A soft white glow came from her hand. Drake gasped. The burn healed fast. He looked at her, shocked. You just healed me. Lyra stood up slowly. Her eyes glowed silver blue. I didn't try. It just happened. More guards arrived. Lasers fired. Lyra raised her hands and a barrier appeared in front of them. A glowing wall of energy blocked the blasts. She turned to Drake. I don't want to run anymore. Lyra, he said. This isn't the time. But she had already stepped forward. The guards froze. Lyra's voice echoed in the crystal cave. I'm not a weapon. I'm not broken. I'm not afraid. The guards hesitated. Then one dropped his weapon. Another took a step. Back. Drake watched in awe. She's turning them. Sarah watched from her ship, furious. And her? She shouted, but her soldiers didn't move. They lowered their guns. One of them turned and said, "She's not the enemy." "You are." Lyra helped Drake to his feet. The cave grew quiet. Some guards had fled. Some stayed behind, silent, unsure. Lyra looked around. For the first time, she felt strong. She felt real. She felt free. But deep inside, she knew the fight was not over. This was only the beginning. The ship broke through Earth's atmosphere just before sunrise. The sky turned from dark purple to orange as the first light touched the blue planet. Clouds moved slowly below, and mountains peeked through like silent watchers. Lyra sat near the window, her hands on the glass. She had never seen a planet so alive. Oceans sparkled in the distance. Forests stretched like green rivers. Birds flew freely through the morning air. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Drake, still recovering from his arm injury, gave a tired smile. "Welcome to Earth." Lyra turned to him. "It feels familiar." "You've been here before," he said. "You just don't remember yet." The ship landed in a hidden base deep inside a forest. It was an old research site once used by human scientists during the early days of alien contact. Drake helped Lyra out. "This place was abandoned after the Earth-Synthara Treaty, but some of us kept it alive." Inside, the walls were dusty, but the machines still worked. Screens lit up, files unlocked. A soft hum filled the room as old systems came online. Lyra looked around, confused. "Why did you bring me here?" Drake pointed to a locked vault at the back. "Because the answers are in there." He pressed his hand to the scanner. The door opened with a hiss. Inside was a room filled with old data drives, photos, and dusty equipment. Lyra stepped in slowly. A photo caught her eye. It was of a young woman with long silver hair and bright blue eyes. She picked it up. "That's her," she said softly. "That's my mother," Drake nodded. "And the man beside her is your father?" Lyra stared at the photo. The man looked human. Strong jaw, warm eyes, and a quiet smile. "I've seen him in my dreams," she whispered. "I didn't know it was real." Drake pulled out a tablet and activated an old video file. The screen flickered. Then played. Video log. 18 years ago, a woman sat in front of the camera. Her face was tired but kind. "My name is Saren. If you're watching this, you found her, my daughter." She looked down, then back up. She was born from two worlds. From love, not war, but they will fear her. They will chase her. A man appeared beside her. He placed his hand on her shoulder. "We gave her a gift," he said. "A third strand of life. One that heals, connects, and grows. If they find out," Saren said, "they'll try to use her or kill her." The video shook slightly. Alarm sounds echoed in the background. "They're coming," Saren whispered. "We have to send her away." The screen went black. Lyra stood still. Her hands trembled. "My mother didn't leave me. She was protecting me," Drake nodded. "She and your father vanished the day after that recording. No one ever found them." Lyra looked at the walls. Old notes, handwritten papers, and DNA charts filled the room. "She created me for peace," she said. "But the world wanted war." Drake pulled up a file. "There's more. Your DNA, the healing strand, was meant to repair planets. Stop extinction events. Cure entire species." Lyra blinked. "That's why Xanthara wants to control me." He nodded. "They're losing power. Their medicine is failing. Their people are sick. You're the answer." "But they won't ask for help," Lyra said. "They'll take it." Drake's voice grew serious. "And now Earth knows about you too, the message we sent. It was picked up." Lyra turned. "Who else knows I'm here?" Before he could answer, the door opened. A woman in a clean uniform stepped inside. Her eyes scanned Lyra from head to toe. "My name is Commander Reyna, Earth Security Division." Lyra stepped back. Drake spoke quickly. "She's not a threat." Reyna nodded. "I know. That's why I'm here to protect her." Lyra was surprised. "You don't want to arrest me?" Reyna shook her head. "You're not the first hybrid, but you're the first with living energy inside you. You're special." Drake frowned. "How do you know about her energy?" Reyna turned serious. Because Earth scientists tried to recreate it, they failed. And now we need her too. Lyra felt pressure in her chest. Everyone wants something from me. Reyna stepped closer. Not everyone. Some of us want to help you decide for yourself. Later, Lyra sat alone outside the base. She watched the sun rise over the trees. Birds chirped. The wind touched her face. She thought of her mother. Her father, the dream of unity they had. She thought of Xanthara. Her cold aunt. Her broken home. And she thought of Earth, a planet full of danger, and hope. Drake joined her. What now? She asked. You choose? He said. Do you hide forever? Or do you stand up and show them who you are? Lyra looked up at the sky. I was born to be both, human and alien. Maybe it's time they see what that means. She stood slowly. I won't run anymore. Drake smiled. Good, because we just got a message. He showed her the screen. Xanthara's main fleet was moving. Toward Earth, the sky above Earth turned dark. Clouds gathered fast. Thunder rolled across the mountains. But this was no storm. High above, 10 Xanthara warships entered Earth's orbit. They moved in silence, their black bodies hiding in the shadows of space. Inside the Earth security base, red lights blinked. Drake, Lyra, and Commander Reyna stood in the control room, watching the screen. They're here, Reyna said quietly. Lyra felt a chill down her spine. That's my aunt's ship, she said, pointing to the largest one. Drake nodded. She didn't come to talk. Reyna turned to her officers. Prepare all defenses, full lockdown. Lyra stepped forward. No, if you fight them, they'll destroy the city. You want us to do nothing? Reyna asked. I'll talk to her, Lyra said. I'll stop this before anyone gets hurt, Reyna frowned. You'd risk your life for them? After what they did to you? Lyra looked at the sky. I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for what's right. A few hours later, a meeting was arranged on the edge of a quiet valley. Both sides stood on opposite sides of a field. Xanthara guards wore silver armor. Their guns were ready. Their faces cold. Earth security team stood still, tense but silent. In the middle, Lyra stood alone. A small ship landed. The door opened. High Commander Asera stepped out, tall and proud. Her black cape blew in the wind. So, she said, the little hybrid dares to face me. Lyra didn't move. I came to end this. You were a mistake, Asera said. You never should have existed, yet here I am, Lyra replied. Asera's eyes narrowed. You could have been useful, but instead you ran. You chose them. I chose peace, Lyra said. You chose fear. Asera raised her hand. I give you one chance. Come with me. Let me control your powers, or Earth burns. Behind her, ships moved closer. Earth's defense shields activated. A war was seconds away. Lyra closed her eyes, and suddenly, the ground shook. A loud explosion hit the Earth. Base? Screams echoed through the valley. Smoke rose from the hills. Drake's voice came through the radio. We've been attacked. It's static. Lara spun around. No, Asera laughed. You trusted them too much, and they trusted you. Lyra ran back toward the base, her heart pounding. She passed injured soldiers, broken machines, and flames in the sky. Then she saw it, one of the Earth officers. Firing at his own team, she froze. It was Commander Reyna. Reyna turned and smiled. Hello, Lyra. You betrayed us? Lyra said, eyes wide. I didn't betray anyone, Reyna said calmly. I made a choice. Xanthara offered me something Earth never could. They used you? No, Reyna said. I used you. You led me to the cure. She pointed her gun, but Lyra's eyes flashed silver blue. The air around her shimmered. Reyna fired. The bullet stopped mid-air, floating, frozen by Lyra's energy. Reyna stepped back. Afraid, Lyra raised her hand. A wave of light pushed Reyna across the room. Drake limped into the room, bleeding. Lyra, I'm here, she said. She helped him up. They broke into the lab, he said. They want your blood samples. Lyra looked at the broken glass. Vials were missing. They're trying to copy me, she said. They won't. Stop. Outside, Asera's voice echoed from her ship. This planet is weak. Give us the hybrid, or we destroy your cities. Lyra stepped onto the rooftop. Facing the sky, she raised her hands. A soft light appeared, spreading, growing, a protective shield covered the base, then the valley, then the sky. Drake watched in awe. You're stopping their weapons. Lyra's voice echoed. I'm not a weapon, I'm a bridge. The warships fired, but every beam stopped at the shield. Energy melted into light. Inside her, something unlocked. She felt her mother's memory, her father's dream, their hope. She felt the pain of being thrown away and the strength of surviving. As Sarah watched, furious. Fall back! She screamed. The warships pulled away. The Earth base stood tall, protected. The people below cheered, but Lyra didn't cheer. She walked back down to the lab. There, Reyna sat in a cell, silent. You had a choice, Lyra said. You chose power. Reyna didn't reply. Drake came beside her. You saved us. No, Lyra said softly. I saved myself. And I saved what's left of my mother's dream. Drake put a hand on her shoulder. So, what now? Lyra looked up at the stars. I make sure this never happens again. Far above, on a dark moon, another figure watched the battle from a hidden screen. He leaned forward. So, the hybrid survived. A new voice behind him whispered, Should we proceed? He smiled. Yes, she's just the beginning. The world was quiet after the storm. Zenthara's ships had vanished from Earth's orbit. The skies were clear again. Birds flew peacefully over the forests. And the Earth base was silent for the first time in days, but Lara stood awake. She looked out over the trees, standing alone on the rooftop of the base. Her long silver hair moved in the morning wind. Her eyes were glowing softly, full of thought. For the first time in her life, she was not running. Inside the base, Drake spoke with Earth's leaders. Video screens showed calm faces now. The threat had passed, but questions remained. Is she safe to keep on Earth? One voice asked. Drake answered firmly. She saved this planet. She's powerful, another said. What if she turns? Drake shook his head. She doesn't want power. She wants peace. Commander Reyna had been taken to a high-security prison. Her betrayal was known now. Her plans to sell Lyra's DNA had failed. Earth officials had seen enough to know the truth, but not everyone was ready to accept it. That's why Lyra had to choose her next steps. Carefully. Later that day, she returned to the old vault where she had first seen the video of her parents. She watched it again. This time, she didn't cry. My name is Saren, the woman said on the screen. And if my daughter sees this, I want her to know something. You were not an accident. You were the answer, a child of two worlds, born from love. Not to destroy, but to heal. The screen flickered. I'm sorry I had to hide you, Saren said, eyes shining. But one day I hope you'll forgive me and show them what you really are. The screen went black. Lyra closed her eyes. I forgive you, she whispered. That night, she asked Drake to take her somewhere. Anywhere? He asked her. She nodded. Back to Zenthara, Drake blinked. Are you sure? They need to see me, not in chains, not as a secret, but as me. He hesitated, then nodded. Then let's go. The ship returned to Zenthara after 2 days. This time, there were no guards waiting. No soldiers. Just silence. The capital city was still cold and proud, but something had changed. Whispers filled the streets. The hybrid girl had survived. The girl who stopped a war. Lyra walked alone through the crystal roads. No cloak, no disguise. People stared. Some pointed. Some stepped back, but some bowed their heads. She reached the mansion where she was thrown out as a child. The same door? The same stone steps? She walked up slowly and knocked once. The door opened. A servant stood there, shocked. Tell Sarah I'm here, Lyra said calmly. Minutes later, her aunt appeared. Dressed in black, eyes sharp as ever. You shouldn't have come, Sarah said coldly. I came to finish what you started, Lyra said. Sarah stepped forward. You think you've won? No, Lyra replied. I don't want to win. I want to change things. You're still weak. No, Lyra said, her voice calm. You ruled with fear. I lead with hope. A soft light appeared. In Lyra's hand, not a weapon, but a flower, made of pure energy. It floated gently, glowing. I'm not here to take power, she said. I'm here to return balance. Asera didn't speak. The silence between them said everything. Then, slowly she turned away and closed the door, but this time, it didn't feel like rejection. It felt like the end of something old. In the following weeks, news spread fast across both planets. The hybrid who saved Earth. Peace talks begin again. DNA that heals. Lyra's legacy. Lyra didn't stay in one place. She traveled between Earth and Xanthara, meeting leaders, calming crowds, visiting children, and teaching others about connection, not division. She refused to be used by governments. She refused to be feared. She chose her own path, and others began to follow. One evening, she returned to the same broken street where she was once thrown out, the same corner, the same cold wall. She sat there quietly. Drake came beside her. It started here, she said. He nodded. It ends here too? No, Lyra said. It begins here. She looked up at the stars. For the first time, I feel free. But far across the stars, on a planet neither Earth nor Xanthara had touched, a shadowy lab came online. A dark figure watched Lyra's image on a hologram screen. She survived, he said. Another voice answered, cold and low. Then we must awaken the others. A line of test tubes lit up. Inside each one floated a being. Silver hair, glowing eyes. Just like her, the screen zoomed out. There were hundreds.